If you think you need a tangible skill for your videos to be of value, knitting, motor mechanics, train spotting, think again. Many content creators simply talk to a camera and that's it, that's all they do. You may not think this is a useful niche, but believe me, it is. Why? I've only had my channel for a couple of months and I've been watching a variety of content creators. And you kind of get to know them. I like to think of them as friends, but without the need to actually go and stay with them for a while. Of course, if you need to find out how to clean the spark plugs of your 1997 Nissan Sunny, well, you have to find the right videos for that task. But once you're back on the road and the engine is sparking, you tend not to come back to whoever made that video. I find myself subscribing to and watching videos by people who just simply seem to talk about their lives. I don't know why, really. I thought that value only comes from someone showing you how to do a useful task. Let's imagine you're setting up a channel, for example, and you're not totally sure about what you're doing. Well, you may need to learn various skills, such as camera work, lenses, lighting, etc. Audio, the best microphones and how to use them. Presentation skills, how to actually talk to your camera without feeling completely stupid. How to engage with an audience, especially one that probably doesn't exist yet. And how to overcome the self-consciousness that we all feel at first. And how do you address a camera in an empty room and say, don't forget to subscribe? Oh, and now seems like quite a good time to say, don't forget to subscribe, by the way. Then there's editing. If you've not done editing before, that can be quite a steep learning curve, even with the simple editing software programs, although I'd recommend using them. You probably don't need the power of the bigger programs. And then there's the scripting, coming up with the ideas, how to tell, or probably better, hide what you're doing from friends or family. And how to make the time for it all. If you want to learn those skills, well, there's plenty of advice and tutorials to watch. But there are only so many, let me show you how I create my videos that you really need. But a few weeks into my own channel, I'm starting to see the benefits of simply talking about your view of the world or what you do. Now, I trained as an actor. I don't really do any acting anymore, but I suddenly thought, what a great resource YouTube could be, not just for actors, but to historians, writers, and maybe other groups that I've not even thought of. Because it's a global platform. So what you do in your part of the world may not seem very exciting to you, but it probably is to others. There's something about getting to know real people and their life story. I live in London, but I quite like dipping into someone else's world, be they in the Australian outback or northern Canada or the middle of Kansas, or even just up the road in Ireland or Scotland. I admit I don't tend to follow any non-English speakers yet, but there's no reason why I shouldn't. Years ago I had a friend who called himself a filmmaker and historian. It sounded rather grand. He was actually a postman, I think. But we were young, you could call yourself whatever you want. And what he meant was that he had a cine camera and he filmed his children growing up, and that he thought would be of interest in years to come. I'm not sure that qualifies you to say that you're a historian, and I'm pretty sure that most parents film their kids, but I think he also filmed people in the villages around where he lived, just talking about their lives. Probably meant the post was always late, but it left him with a record of ordinary people in the second half of the last century. And as an actor, or former actor, I thought, wouldn't it be great, had I been cast in a play set in New Mexico, for example, to actually find someone who lives in New Mexico to get an idea of what their life is like, what their dialect is like. And imagine if we'd had YouTube way, way back. A Roman soldier who also happens to be a YouTuber showing us his part in the construction of Hadrian's Wall, complaining about the cold weather and wishing he'd brought a longer skirt. An Egyptian content creator pouting at her camera as the pyramids take shape behind her. I'm not saying YouTube will be around in 3,000 years and that you'll still be picking up subscribers, but the very fact that you think something is just normal or ordinary, to someone else it could well be educational. So my point is, don't knock it until you've tried it. You don't need to show off your cookery skills or your card tricks, you just need to show us your reality. So if you're thinking of starting, but you don't know your niche, or you don't think you have anything of value to say, just start. See how you get on, and don't worry about it feeling mundane. it will almost certainly be of value to someone, and perhaps to many out there in the YouTube community.